The last segment of the section on printing shows how you can set the print and fax preferences. And what I'm going to show you here is the fact that in each of the print dialogues you can open the preferences, and they have changed from previous versions of Mac OS X. In fact, the entire printer setup mechanism has changed. We used to have separate applications in the Utilities folder to set up printers, and now we don't. You saw how to add a printer, and here is the Print and Fax Preferences pane from System Preferences. We're now in System Preferences. And the options here, again, are different depending on what printer you have. This is the printer that I've set up. As you may recall, it's attached to an airport base station, and it's my default printer. I can add printers from here with this standard dialog that opens the same Add Printer dialog that you've seen before. And I can also from here delete a printer if I want to by clicking the delete button, but I'm not going to do that. Now, for each printer, I can look at options and supplies for that printer, and it depends on, as I said, the printer that you're using. Here's where you can name a printer, and this is where it is located. You can see information about the driver. You can select other drivers from here if there are multiple drivers available. And you may be able to check supply levels and order supplies for your printer. Here, if I click on supplies, I go to Apple's website where I can order supplies for this printer. I'm not going to bother doing that now, but you should also in some cases be able to see supply levels, the amount of ink that's left in cartridges in the printer. In this case, because this printer is not connected to this computer but over the wireless network, I can't get that information for it. I have to actually go over and look at it. If it were connected directly to my computer, I would be able to see it, and that's a function of this particular computer and the connection. We also can default what printer should be used in a print dialog and the default size. We have several places in print dialogs and in preferences where you can set the defaults, and this is one of them. Now, each printer has a print queue, and the print queue consists of the jobs that that printer is printing. If I were to print a job, it would come first into the print queue and be encoded so that it can then be sent to the printer. Then it would be sent to the printer, and you would see the status here as it prints page after page after page. I can select a job in the list here and delete it, which will stop printing, and delete it from the queue, or I could click hold, and that will stop the job there. When I click resume, it will resume printing for the selected job. I can stop the printer, and I can resume it. I can also get information about the printer, and this is the same information that you saw in another section of the Print and Fax Preferences. Again, if it's connected directly and it happens to be this kind of printer, you can check the supply levels. What's important to note here is that the computer and the printer are functioning on slightly different time frames. The computer sends pages to the printer, and the printer then prints them out. If the computer has sent 3 pages to the printer, depending on the particular connection and the printer, maybe only 1 or 2 of them have been printed. So if you have a message here that it's printing page 5 of 20, don't think that you have 5 pages already printed. You have at most 5 pages printed. So if you've started printing a 20-page document and you realize, you only need the first 5 pages, go and look at the printer to see how many have been printed before you delete that job and stop its printing. So those are the preferences for printing. Now, when we came in here and opened the preferences, we actually went into System Preferences, and that's the topic of the next segment.